Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Algebra 2, Factoring Polynomials to Find Real Number Solutions. We are going to be factoring completely like we did yesterday, and now we are going to be solving them. Okay, so you need your calculator and your factoring tools and your notes, and we will get started. All right, so here we go. How do I use factoring as a way to find the solutions to a polynomial? That's my key question. Well, in order for me to do this, I have to be proficient in factoring. Okay, so I need my factoring tools. I need my greatest common factoring, I need my grouping, my AC method, and my difference of squares. All right, so I need to be able to do these types of factoring in order to solve. So first thing, question number 1 says factor completely and solve. Okay, solve means I want to find a value. I want to find what the variable equals. What does x equal? Okay, so we have to use our factoring tools first. So the first thing we want to do is figure out what kind of factoring am I going to use. I have two terms that will not be AC, and that will not be grouping. So the only options are either greatest common factoring or difference. 2 is not a perfect square. 18 is not a perfect square. So I'm going to go with greatest common factoring first. What do they both have in common? They have a 2x cubed in common. So I'm going to factor out 2x cubed. What's left over goes into parentheses. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X to the 5th divided by x cubed is x squared. 18 divided by 2 is 9. And the x cubes cancel. Okay? Now, I did one type of factoring. Now remember, when we factor completely, that means we have to see if this on the inside can be factored again. So we have x squared minus 9. That is the difference of two squares. X squared is a perfect square and 9 is a perfect square. So the second type of factoring is difference of two squares. Okay? And it's the difference because that's a subtraction. All right. So I'm going to bring down what I've already factored, and now I'm going to factor this part. So x squared minus 9 factors into x minus 3 and x plus 3. Okay? And so now that you have it all factored completely, now we can do the solving. Which means what? We set each factor equal to 0. Okay? Each factor equal to 0. All right? So we take this factor and set it equal to 0, and we take these two factors and set it equal to 0. So 2x cubed equals 0. Divide by 2. X cubed equals 0. Cube root both sides. You did that in geometry, cube root, because you did volume. Cube root of 0 is 0. So x equals 0. Then we set this one equal to 0. X minus 3 equals 0. X equals 3. Add 3 to both sides. X equals 3. And then set x plus 3 equal to 0, and x is going to be negative 3. So those are my answers. 0, 3, negative 3. Okay. Let's try another one. All right. Factor completely and solve. Okay. Knowing our factoring. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. 4 terms right away means I am going to do grouping. Okay. So the first type of factoring I am going to use is grouping. Group these two, group these two. What do they have in common? They have an x squared in common. Okay, so I put that out in front. What's left over? X cubed divided by x squared is 3 minus 1. You subtract the exponents. Okay, 3x squared divided by x squared, the x squareds cancel. Now remember, I have to, with grouping, I have to get x minus 3 again. So what do I need to divide out of negative 16 and 48? Negative 16. Okay. So negative 16 divided by negative 16 is 1x, and 48 divided by negative 16 is negative 3. Now that those two are the same, then the factors for this problem are x minus 3 and x squared minus 16. So x squared minus 16 and 1x minus 3. Okay. Now, can I factor again? Well, this is to a power of 1, not factorable. This is power to a 2, might be factorable. X squared minus 16. 16 is a perfect square. That is a square. So we would do second type would be difference of 2 squares. X times x is x squared. 4 times 4 is 16. I need one to be negative, one to be positive, so that I get negative 16 in the middle term canceling times x minus 3. Okay, now what do? We take all our factors and we set all our factors equal to 0 and solve. X minus 4 equals 0. That's x equals 4. X plus 4 equals 0. That's negative 4. And x minus 3 equals 0. And that would be 3. So our answers would be 4, negative 4, and 3. Okay, let's try another one. Factor completely and solve. Okay, so first type of factoring we would use. Let's count our terms. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we could try trinomial. Except for trinomial, AC is not going to work. Because remember, with AC, your first exponent has to be double the second. So AC isn't going to work. Okay, we don't have grouping. We don't have two terms, so we can't do difference of two squares. So we should always try greatest common factoring first. What do they all have in common? Well, looky there. They all have an x in common. So I'm going to take an x out of each one of them. X cubed divided by x is x squared. X squared divided by x is an x. And negative 12x divided by x is negative 12. All right, now that was the first type of factoring. Now we have to look at this and see if it's factorable again. Well, with the AC method, we need 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, and we need our exponent, first exponent, to be double the second. Well, 2 is double 1, so I can use the AC method now. All right, so 2 factors of negative 12 that make negative 4. So AC, 2 factors of negative 12 that make negative 4. That would be negative 6 and positive 2. So now we turn this into a 4-term problem. X squared minus 6x plus 2x minus 12. And group them. So what do these two have in common? They have an x in common. So x minus 6. These guys have a 2 in common. So plus 2. X minus 6. The two factors would be x plus 2 and x minus 6. Then you have to bring out the original factor that you took out to begin with. And so all our factors are x, x plus 2, and x minus 6. Set all factors equal to 0 and solve. So x equals 0. Well, that's 0. X plus 2 equals 0. That's x equals negative 2. And x minus 6 equals 0. X equals 6. So the answers are 0, negative 2, and 6. Okay, let's do one more. All right, factor completely and solve. Uh-oh, we have a problem. All the other problems were set equal to 0. Notice how this was set equal to 0, this was set equal to 0, and this was set equal to 0. Well, in problem number 4, we don't have it set equal to 0. So the first thing we need to do is set everything equal to 0 before we can factor. So I'm going to bring this 14x cubed to the other side. It doesn't subtract with anything because it doesn't have any like terms. So our problem would be 2x to the 5th minus 14x cubed plus 24x equals 0. Now we can begin the factoring process. Okay, so 3 terms. I would do AC method. Uh-oh, 5 is not double 3, so I cannot use the AC method. I don't have 4 terms for grouping. I don't have 2 terms for difference of 2 squares. So guess what? I need to take out a greatest common factor. What do they have in common? Well, they have a 2x, I believe. So let's take out a 2x from everything and see where that takes us. 2 divided by 2 is 1. X to the 5th divided by x is x to the 4th. 14 divided by 2 is 7. X squared. 24x divided by 2x would be 12. All right, now we have to look at that second part and see if we can factor anything further here. There are 3 terms. The exponent 4 is double 2, so we will use the AC method. 2 factors of 12, that makes 7, negative 7. Well, 4 and 3 make positive 7, so it would be negative 3 and negative 4. Right, that is a 4-term grouping problem. Remember, since this is squared, this is going to be squared here. Rewrite the first term, rewrite the last term, but the middle term has to add up to the, these 2 terms have to add up to the middle term. So if we put x's here, x and x don't make x squared. X plus x is x. Okay, so make sure you have these as a 2. All right, now you can group. What do these 2 have in common? An x squared. So we're going to divide out an x squared. That gives me x squared minus 4. What do these 2 have in common? They have a negative 3. So I'm going to take out a negative 3. So I get x squared minus 4. Okay, and so my factors are x squared minus 3, x squared minus 4, and bring down the 2x that you originally took out. Oh, wow. We have a problem. We can actually factor this one again. Why? Yes, 4 is a perfect square. 3 is not a perfect square, but 4 is. So the factors are 2x, x squared minus 3, x minus 2, and x plus 2. Oh, looky there. We can use the difference of 2 squares. All right, now that everything is factored, we can set each factor equal to 0 and solve. Sorry about that line. Oh, I just lost everything. Uh-oh. Okay, so I got to remember what was there. We had 2x, x squared minus 3, x plus 2, x minus 2. You can go back and rewind and pause it to get the answers again. I apologize for that. Anyway, now we can set these equal to 0. Well, this will give me some room to do that. So 2x equals 0. Divide by 2. X equals 0. X squared minus 3 equals 0. X squared equals 3. Square root both sides. X equals plus or minus the square root of 3. X plus 2 equals 0. X equals negative 2. X minus 2 equals 0. X equals 2. So your solutions for this problem are 0, plus or minus the square root of 3, negative 2, and 2. These are all your solutions. Well, guess what? There's 5 the degree is 5, which is quintic, you should have 5 solutions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that is factoring completely and solving. Thanks for taking good notes, and we will practice it when I see you again. Oh, here's the summary. Forgot about that. Sorry, back up. Remember to make sure the polynomial is in standard form and equal to 0, then factor it, set each factor equal to 0, and make sure that you have every x value you need. That's a good summary. I forgot I had that page. All right. Thank you for taking good notes, and we'll practice them tomorrow.